Johnson heads to the bucket. Layup. Johnson. Good.
And welcome, everybody. It's another episode of Talkin Sports with me, Chris Powers, and March Madness full swing, and we're having a lot of fun with it, except if you're a Lady Tiger fan. We all are. Lady Tiger season is over. They got beat this past Sunday against UCLA. Second season in a row, they make the Elite Eight, and it's over. We're going to talk about that, dive in. What's the problem with LSU Lady Tiger basketball? What's going to be the problem? How can we fix it and all that? How can Coach Mulkey fix that? And we've said this time and time again, they're not a top 7 team. And they're not a top 2 team in the SEC. It's South Carolina, Texas, and LSU. And LSU better watch out because Tennessee's getting better. Tennessee made a deep run this year. They're getting better. Other teams are starting to get better. So you got to be careful with that LSU can't fall behind that because already they're number 3 in the SEC. And now, I'm going to choose that because both South Carolina and Texas make the Final Four. We'll look at the brackets coming up a little later on, both on the men and women's side. But right now, we feel LSU is not a top 7 team. And when they play in the top 7, what happens to them? Do they have too many turnovers? Do they not shoot the ball well enough? Well, let's dive into it. Let's talk about the turnovers because it seems like those turnovers are killing them in games that they've lost. All right, they've lost 6 games this year. 6 games. First loss was against South Carolina. They had 17 turnovers. Second loss was in the regular season, 19 turnovers against the University of Texas and the Lady Longhorns. The third loss was a ranked Alabama team, and they made a pretty good run. They got beaten double overtime to Maryland in the tournament. They had 13 turnovers against Alabama. Against Ole Miss, they had 15. They lost back-to-back games, Alabama, and then they went to Alabama, and then they went to Ole Miss after that, and they lost. And they had 15 turnovers against the Lady Rebels. Against Texas in the SEC championship tournament, this was the semifinals, by the way, they had 15 turnovers against the University of Texas then, and against UCLA on Sunday, they had 15 turnovers. So 77 turnovers in those 6 losses. That's an average of 12.8 turnovers per ball game. Now, let's talk about the games that they won. They had 462 turnovers on the year. That's 14.9 turnovers a ball game. So they had more turnovers in their wins than they did in losses. So it's turnovers really, but also not only that, the turnovers, they're in opportune times. It's never a good time to have a turnover, I guess, unless you're in the first quarter and all that stuff. But LSU has had turnovers to where it's been like, what are you thinking? And at very bad times, like the UCLA game on Sunday. So turnovers are not yet. So they average 14.9 in the wins and turnovers. What about now shooting percentages? In the losses, they shot 152 baskets made, 407 attempts. That's 37% they shot. Now in the wins, they shot 47%. That's something right there. 37% they shot in the losses, 47% in the wins. Against South Carolina, they shot 30% in that first loss. Against UT in the regular season, 33%. Against UT in the and we're looking at the top 25 teams. Against UT in the SEC tournament, they shot 34%. And against UCLA this weekend, they shot 37%. There you go. It's the shooting percentage. Now, they're just missing too many shots. And what gets me about this team for the last 3 years, they're trying to make acrobatic shots. You're not going to be a part of the Harlem Globetrotters here. Stop trying to make acrobatic shots when you're coming down the floor, fast break, and you're making a 360 like a Statue of Liberty. You're not going to make that. You're not part of the Harlem Globetrotters. Stop doing that. If you feel that you're rushed to take that shot, back off, pull the ball out. That's what smart basketball players do and smart teams do. If the numbers don't fit you, if you have more defenders and not enough offensive players down at your teammates, pull it out. There's no you're not 3 seconds left in the game. Pull it out. But they seem to make the most craziest shots I've ever seen in my life. Don't do that. Stop doing that. So with that, Anicia Moreau averaged 18.7 points per ball game. She's going to the WNBA. She's gone. She had a remarkable career. Good season this year at LSU. She had 18.7 points per game this year. Flau'jae Johnson struggled in the tournament, but she had a good season, 18.6 per game. She's undecided of whether she's going in the WNBA or not. I got a feeling she will, but possibility she won't because she's making good money in NIL. So there's a chance she may stay. I think it might be 50-50 there. And I'd like for her to stay, even though she didn't have a good tournament at all, NCAA tournament. Even that game against Florida State, she had 13 points. It feels like she had more than 13 points. She only had 13 points in that Florida State game. That was round 2 of the NCAA tournament in the PMAC. But she had only 13 points in that game. Michaela Williams, averaging 17.3 per ball game, sophomore from Bossier City, Louisiana. Very good, okay? She's very good. The thing about her, though, she's streaky. If she starts off doing really well, she's going to end the half not doing well. Vice versa. If she starts out bad, second half she might be better. Noticing in the second half when she's making her shots, they're all falling short. They're barely touching the rim. That's the only thing about her. She needs to work on her skills, and if her shots are falling short in the second half, she needs to work on her conditioning. But I love her shot. She has such a smooth shot. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. She'll stay on as a junior. She hadn't talked about leaving or not, and this is her home state. I anticipate she's going to stay. Samaya Smith, 6.6 points per ball game, transferring already. As soon as the game was over, she's hit the transfer portal. She did good in the tournament. Not good for the year, but she did good for the tournament. She only averaged 6.6 points per ball game. LSU needs guards. We said that at the beginning of the season. Everybody said that. They're going to be short on guards. So they need guards that can shoot, and they need a good point guard. Everybody's saying, why in the hell, they couldn't get a good point guard. They lost a good point guard with Haley Van Lith, but that was her decision to leave to go to TCU. That wasn't LSU's. Kim Mulkey wanted her still on the team, but she looked confused. This year she's having an unbelievable year, or she had an unbelievable year. Her season is over. She was named the Big 12 Player of the Year, and she did great in the Olympics in the 3-on-3 challenge. But we need a good point guard on this team. Also, the team seems to be stuck at the number 3 in the SEC and in the Elite Eight. Second year in a row, they're out of the Elite Eight. Kim Mulkey will figure it out. First of all, I'm going to tell you, I'm a huge Kim Mulkey fan. Big time Kim Mulkey fan. I loved her to death at Baylor. I loved her at Louisiana Tech. And I love her at LSU. I wish LSU could have got her a long time ago. She is one of the greats in this game. And I hope she can figure it out. The problem is that she always has a tough stance on things. She gets emotional during the game. She did as a player, did as assistant coach, and she did as a head coach. She is doing it as a head coach. But she wins championships, y'all. A lot of people say the Bill Parcells of the world can't make it today. The Bobby Knights can't make it today. Is that the same with Kim Mulkey? Jonathan, what say you on that?
Oh, I appreciate it, Chris. And if you don't mind, I'll just take a minute to talk about what I did see at that post-game press conference. And I was in Thibodeau all weekend at the baseball tournament, so I missed a lot of the games. Did see the highlights and saw the post-game press conference. And, definitely shout out to Coach Kim Mulkey and those Lady Tigers. Third year in a row, at least making it to the Elite Eight. And I did not have it on my bingo card driving into work today from Metairie to Baton Rouge. We listening to Anissa Morrow get emotional, thanking Coach Kim Mulkey for all that she's done for her. Anissa Morrow, can't say enough. What a historical career she's had. What a rebounder. And rebounding's all about smarts and toughness. And Anissa Morrow certainly is one of the toughest girls around. Yeah. You saw, if you watched the Elite Eight game against UCLA, she got bumped in the nose. It was actually reported on the broadcast that she broke her nose. Yep. It wasn't, in fact, the case. She didn't want to come out the game. She was bleeding a little bit. She was banged up. But that is as tough as it gets in college women's sports, Anissa Morrow. But when she turned to Coach Kim Mulkey and thanked her for the opportunity to transfer to LSU, she started crying. And it's tough not to get emotional. And shout out Flau'jae Johnson. Also got very emotional in postgame. These are all tough girls. They compete at the highest level. They know how to act tough, talk tough. And when they start breaking down, thanking Coach Kim Mulkey for what they teach off the court here at LSU, that's how you know a coach is really touching lives of young people, an elite coach. You don't raise expectations for programs. You raise expectations for people. And yeah, thanking God for the opportunity, calling the name of Jesus for his opportunities. He's given Flau'jae Johnson. It was one of the most genuine post-game press conferences I remember seeing. Then you get down to Michaela Williams, and you saw Flau'jae break down. You see tough Anissa Morrow break down. And there's Michaela Williams, cool as a cucumber. She knows exactly what her role is on the team. She knows she's still a leader in the locker room. Not sure what's going to happen with Morrow or Johnson. But you know Michaela Williams is going to be back, and she's not done. You mentioned the streakiness. I believe she can work on her game, get more consistent, especially from that three-point line. And let's face it, LSU did the job against Betts, one of the most dominant big women in the game.
Right.
She was fouled in foul trouble early, set out a lot of the second quarter. Flau'jae Johnson in the post-game press conference took ownership. She said, I should have scored in that second quarter. We did what we had to do, and I felt that I put my team in a drought. Well, she came back in the second half, had 24 points, and led the Tigers with 28 total. And we take ownership like that, putting your emotions on the line, a truly genuine performance. You got to tip your hat. We all kind of thought that it would be inconsistent point guard play and lack of physicality down low, and that's exactly how it played out. LSU played fantastic against NC State. Samaya Smith had a fantastic tournament. But you mentioned now she's out the building. So LSU, how do you fix it? You have to get those big, dominant ladies in the interior for LSU. And you see it every year. There's always one or two very dominant, tall, physical women that take their team all the way to the end.
Right.
And we're seeing it again this year.
I like their post players. I like how she gets post players in here. The only thing I don't like is their guards. And this year she said that. Before the season started, we got to get more guards. We don't have enough guard play. So we got to get new guards. Marty, this is kind of weird. I'm looking right here. I'm wearing black today. And do you see this, Jonathan, to where I look like I'm my arms and my face, but no shirt on here? I've been no midsection here. I like that. All right, coming up next, we'll look at the NCAA men's and women's tournament bracket. Final four, pretty set. All four number one seeds in the Final Four of the men's side. We'll talk about that coming up in just a moment as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan in the house, Marty's in the house. Back after this time out right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouget today.
The 53rd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Louisiana's largest free harvest festival, is just around the corner. And the fun begins on Friday, April the 11th, with a large midway of rides for the whole family. Plus, live music begins at 3:30 p.m. on not one, but two big stages. On Friday, Clay Cormier and the Highway Boys, plus the 3rd Street Band and the Rhythm Chasers, just to name a few. On Saturday, April 12th, the Strawberry Festival Parade starts at 9:30 a.m. and it travels right down East Pine Street in Ponchatoula. Then head to Memorial Park for some of the best booths in Louisiana, from seafood, funnel cakes, hamburgers, and of course the juiciest strawberries in the world from local farmers. Live music starts at 11:45 a.m. and don't miss former Idol contestant Lindsey Cornelli at 12 noon on the South Stage. The Dominoes start at 5 p.m. and Thomas Kane at 7:30 p.m. On Sunday, April 12th, it's the Egg Toss Contest from 11 a.m. until 12 noon and the Strawberry Eating Contest from 1:30 to 2:45 p.m. Don't miss the 2025 Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Friday, April 11th through Sunday, April 13th at Memorial Park in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars. All right, welcome back, everybody, as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers. NCAA Tournament Final Four is here. It's in San Antonio, Texas at the Alamo Dome, and San Antonio, people, they got to brag about their city. It's the best. It's the best place for a Final Four. They say NCAA tournament officials tell them that. Now, I will say, so this is their third Final Four, I believe, for men. They had one for the women. That makes four. I will say they've had it, I think, closer than New Orleans has had it. New Orleans needs to get it more. And right now, New Orleans is in for the 2031 bid for the Final Four. Nashville is in there as well. I do think it's better in New Orleans. What makes New Orleans better is 26,000 hotel rooms in a 4-mile radius in downtown of the CBD from the Superdome. 26,000. I checked Atlanta, had 12,000. There's other cities. Los Angeles didn't have that many. Obviously, San Francisco, they're going to do it in San Francisco, or an hour later they got to go to Santa Clara, an hour down the road. So New Orleans is really the only place that has 26,000 hotel rooms within a 4-mile radius of the Superdome. That's incredible. The Final Four should be in New Orleans more frequent than it is, no question about that. So it's in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. That dome was built in hopes to bring in an NFL team. It never did. The Saints were at one point maybe going. Another team was set to maybe go there, but it never happened. And so I think it was St. Louis, by the way, before they went to Los Angeles. They talked about possibly getting the Cardinals or the Rams to the Alamo Dome, but it never happened. The Raiders also, I think, at one time were set to possibly go there as well. Regardless, 4 number 1 seeds playing in the Final Four. Auburn against the Florida Gators. That's going to be a big one. These games, by the way, will be on CBS, and that's the first one that will go on. The second one will be Duke versus Houston. I've got Auburn taking on Florida. I've got the Florida Gators winning that game. I think Florida's more consistent, and I think on paper Florida's the better basketball team. Auburn has been winning, but not by much. You had to come back and win a couple times. They've won by 6 here, won by 6 there. They beat Michigan by 6 points, 70-64. They beat Michigan 78-65. It was a 13-point win there. I got Florida more aggressive. I got the Florida Gators winning this, and I got Florida Gators going to the national championship game. That's what I've got, okay, as far as the Final Four goes there in that side. On the other side, Duke and Houston, hey, I'm shocked Houston made it. The Cougars and Sampson have always, blew it before they got there, but they've looked very good. Duke, I think, is a better basketball team, so I think Duke wins this game. I think it's Florida versus Duke in the national championship. I got the Duke Blue Devils as my national champion. Jonathan, I'm going to ask you, my brother. I got Auburn losing to Florida, and I've got Duke beating Houston. I've got Duke winning the national championship against the Florida Gators. What say you?
So I completely understand your picks, Chris, but I will point back to that Florida-Texas Tech game. I thought Texas Tech was probably the weakest team left in the Elite Eight, and they had a double-digit lead over Florida. Late rally, 30 points by Walter Clayton. Clutch shots at the last minute let Florida win that ball game. I'm going to take Auburn. Coach Bruce Pearl just knows how to get it done. I believe Auburn will be able to shoot the ball from beyond the arc well enough to beat the Gators. On the other side, we talked about it last week. We thought Houston would blow it. Duke has the best player in college basketball, but this might be the year for the Cougars. I'm taking Houston over Duke. In my mind, was kind of an upset. And we'll have Houston-Auburn in the national championship. And I got to go with the fighting Charles Barkley's. I'm going to take Bruce Pearl and those Auburn War Eagles to take it all. Call me crazy, but I have Auburn win the national championship. It's been a great Elite Eight. It's been a great tournament. But I just think Auburn playing pretty hot right now, can shoot the ball from beyond the arc. They can score at will. And all these teams can. They're obviously all very talented. But give me Auburn. I like Coach Pearl, and I believe in the Tigers.
Wow. Okay, I like that. So you got the Tigers winning it all.
Yes, sir.
Auburn Tigers, and that would make Charles. You wouldn't hear the end of Charles.
That's right. He had a huge smile on that big old head.
Oh my goodness gracious! Be interesting to see that. I got Duke. I think looks just absolutely unbelievable. I think either one of them, 4 number 1 seeds. That's pretty impressive.
How boring is that, though, right, Chris?
Yeah, I think this could be the best Final Four since it was in New Orleans. Remember when UConn played Duke? North Carolina played Duke in the first game, in the semifinal game.
Yep. And
it went down to the wire.
Yep.
Oh, it was unbelievable. That was so much publicity on that. You couldn't get that. So 4 number 1s is pretty awesome. And again, I think it ought to be a great one. Starts on Saturday from the Alamo Dome. the national championship on Monday. And I don't know why they do this. Sometimes they put it on TBS, True TV, or whatever. No. Not everybody has cable. You need to keep it on CBS. I don't understand why they do that. It is on CBS this year, by the way. Yeah. The only thing is that we won't have Jim Nantz there. I hate Jim Nantz not being the play-by-play guy. I'm not a big Deion Eagle. I'm not a big fan of him.
This is the second time that 4 number 1 seeds have reached the Final Four.
Yeah.
And 2008 was the first time, Chris. It doesn't happen often, and we kind of talked about it last week with the NAL impact on college basketball and the tournament. And I think this is exactly what you were talking about. These blue blood programs that are only going to get the 5-star blue chip players. And it's not going to be a Cinderella story again.
No.
And hey, there's a lot of money to be made in that, though.
And I mean, we could go on and on. We could do a whole show and even 2 whole shows of how bad the NCAA tournament is. Did you hear in the press conference when Calipari was getting ready for the Sweet 16 that he said, when does the transfer portal start? And it was starting Monday.
That day, right.
Are you kidding me? During the season, you're going to start transfer portal when you still got teams in the tournament?
Right.
Oh, that is horrible. I mean, the NCAA is so bad, but I'll say this. One of the reasons, Jonathan, I think they are bad is because of the fact there's lawsuits that happen, that people file lawsuits and they end up winning. Judges give it to them. They end up winning. Like, for instance, Coach Gino is not happy with the NCAA tournament for the women. So they played Monday, last night, and they got to play Friday in Tampa, Florida. They got to go from Spokane, Washington, all the way down to Tampa, Florida to play in the Final Four for Friday. They don't have much off time. So I'm assuming they're there in Tampa now. I would, if I was them. I wouldn't have flown back to UConn. So I'd be in Tampa right now, getting my ladies, legs back underneath them, and maybe start practice tomorrow and getting ready. They got press conferences that'll be coming up and what have you. But and Coach Mulkey agreed with Coach Gino. They got to change this. This is horrible.
Yeah.
And they got to have four semifinalist games. I mean, 4 sites for the semifinalist games. That's what they're trying to say. And why would you put LSU in Spokane, Washington? Have it in Birmingham where their fans can go. I mean, are you kidding? That's stupid. That's absolutely crazy. Let's take a look at the Final Four for the women. All number 1s except for one, the UConn Huskies. And I got to be honest with you, this is the best UConn's looked in a long time. They look good. They easily beat USC, yesterday. They're playing UCLA. I think UConn's going to beat UCLA. UCLA struggled, even in that drought. LSU had an 11-2 run at the end of the first quarter. If LSU would have shot good and not turned the ball over in stupid times, LSU would have won that game. And like you said, they handled their big girl very well. I think UCLA is not as dominant. They're the number 1 seed, but they're not as dominant. They had 12-point lead over Southern University in the first round. 12 points. That's it. So with that, I got the UConn Lady Huskies winning that game against UCLA. South Carolina and Texas. And look, South Carolina has barely won these games. The only game they dominated was Texas Tech in the first round of the tournament. Texas Tech was the only game they dominated. Texas has looked good, and they beat a very big team in TCU who was playing very well with Haley Van Lith. However, this season, 2 times that South Carolina and Texas have played, Jonathan, South Carolina has dominated them. Dominated them. And I think South Carolina wins that game because of that. I think it's UConn and South Carolina in the national championship. Oh, that's tough, man. I'm going to give it to South Carolina 2 in a row, 3 out of the last 4. What say you?
Yeah, I think that's a safe pick, Chris, and you got to tip your hats to UCLA. Obviously, if you're getting put out by UCLA, as LSU did, you hope they make it to the championship and win it. You always want to lose to the champion if you're going to get put out, by the people that are wearing the crown at the end. But Texas and South Carolina, what a barn burner this one's going to be. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in the season, as we all know. And South Carolina dominating Texas. And to me, to the eye test for me, when LSU played South Carolina, when LSU played Texas, I thought Texas dominated LSU like I hadn't seen in a while. South Carolina, you know what they have, all the McDonald's All-Americans that are on that team. Coach Dawn Staley, not a huge fan of her personality outside of the court, but wow, does she know how to coach a basketball team. They're playing really well right now, the Lady Gamecocks. Hard to pick against them. You mentioned it, 2 out of the last 3. I would like to see UCLA make it to the game, to the championship. If you twisted my arm, made me pick between South Carolina and Texas, I guess I would have to give the nod to South Carolina just because they had the pedigree. They've been there before. These players have been through this experience before. That their eyes aren't going to be really wide open. They're going to be ready for the game with Coach Staley. So I got UCLA and South Carolina in the championship. And, yeah, I'd hate to go something different against you, Chris. I'm also taking the Lady Gamecocks. I think that UCLA did a great job when Betts did go down with foul trouble to make some shots with some other people, especially that deep three that was working against LSU. But I don't think they'll have enough to overtake South Carolina. So I will take the Lady Gamecocks to win it all for the ladies.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It ought to be fun. That's in Tampa, Florida, by the way. So that'll be played in Tampa Friday and Sunday. The national championship on Sunday. So you'll be able to check that out, by the way, and go from there. And by the way, obviously we're filming this on April Fool's Day. We're not doing any April Fool's stuff. Crazy. This is April the 1st. Tomorrow, April the 2nd. And, Jonathan, it's the 2-year anniversary that LSU won the national championship in women's basketball. It's the anniversary. It happened on April 2nd, 2 years ago. Hard to believe. It just seemed like yesterday, didn't it?
Yep, no doubt. Angel Reese, Alexis Morris, the whole deal.
Yeah, and their bench got them in the first half. Their bench was incredible.
Jasmine hitting those threes.
Yeah, unbelievable. And even the buzzer shot, remember?
Oh yeah, right there before halftime.
Before halftime, that's right.
Yeah,
unbelievable. And by the way, okay, so a friend of mine but he didn't know. He didn't know. Get this, that the play-by-play guy for the Oklahoma Sooners baseball put out on social media today that because of the incoming weather that's coming to Oklahoma, LSU will play on Thursday, starting at 11 a.m., play all 3 games. And I took it. I was going to put it in my notes. I said, oh, my God. I said, but that never happens even in tournament play.
Yeah.
So that was an April Fool's deal.
It's all right, Chris. I got one better. We were doing a show years back, and a little girl, who I won't name, was on desk, and she was talking about how LSU was going to get a purple field. She saw it. It was in the news, a purple field, and she didn't realize yet. It was an April Fool's joke. And we had to take it back.
You know, I have a problem. I don't know about you. I have a problem with news agencies and sports agencies doing April Fool's jokes like that.
No
because
doubt.
You're supposed to be credible.
Hurts the credibility, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't think they should ever do that. That should be between you and me off camera.
Right.
Whatever. Hey, Marty, you look like Brad Pitt. Yeah, okay, no. So, I mean, it should be off camera. It shouldn't be on camera, any April Fool's thing from sports or news media. I think that's bad. Hey, speaking of LSU baseball, by the way, they will not be playing 3 games on Thursday. However, there is heavy rain coming to Oklahoma.
Yep.
But, I don't know how they're going to do that. They may play a doubleheader on Thursday. They may play they're not supposed to play Sunday because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday matchup. Could they stay in town till Sunday? I don't know. But we'll have to watch the LSU website to find out that. Also, the Advocate does a pretty good job of updating people as well. Go to the Facebook page of LSU. They'll update you on that as well. But LSU and Oklahoma, we're going to talk about that coming up in baseball as we continue talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan, and Marty in the house. Back after this timeout right here on Pelican Sports TV.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
The 53rd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Louisiana's largest free harvest festival, is just around the corner. And the fun begins on Friday, April the 11th, with a large midway of rides for the whole family. Plus, live music begins at 3:30 p.m. on not one, but 2 big stages. On Friday, Clay Cormier and the Highway Boys, plus the 3rd Street Band and the Rhythm Chasers, just to name a few. On Saturday, April 12th, the Strawberry Festival Parade starts at 9:30 a.m. and it travels right down East Pine Street in Ponchatoula. Then head to Memorial Park for some of the best booths in Louisiana, from seafood, funnel cakes, hamburgers, and of course the juiciest strawberries in the world from local farmers. Live music starts at 11:45 a.m. and don't miss former Idol contestant Lindsay Cordelli at 12 noon on the South Stage. The Dominoes start at 5 p.m. and Thomas Kane at 7:30 p.m. On Sunday, April 12th, it's the Egg Toss Contest from 11 a.m. until 12 noon and the Strawberry Eating Contest from 1:30 to 2:45 p.m. Don't miss the 2025 Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Friday, April 11th through Sunday, April 13th at Memorial Park in Ponchatoula, Louisiana.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers. LSU and Oklahoma, as we mentioned, coming up. We'll talk about that in a moment. LSU swept Mississippi State and the Bulldogs. Not a big feat. They weren't in the top 25, but, hey, it's an SEC game. They beat them 8-6 on Thursday, 2-1 on Friday, which I think either went close to midnight or over midnight because of all the rain that we had in Baton Rouge. And on Saturday, I know for a fact they went to 1 a.m. because I turned the TV off at like 12:56 and what have you. I had enough. I had to go to bed. And it was 17-8 final score on Saturday, well after 1 a.m. in the morning that they did that. See, the rule is that baseball has to get in 80% of the games before their SEC tournament. That's NCAA rules and SEC rules. For softball, you got to get 100% of the games in, 100%. But for baseball, 80% of the games have to be completed at least. So that's why they had to do those games, no question. All right, so in game one on Thursday, LSU won 8-6. They hit 335 on that game. On the Friday game, they hit 332. And in the Saturday game, they hit 338. 27 runs they scored in the three-game series, 34 hits, 19 left on base. It sounds like a lot right now, but it's not. They didn't leave over 10 on base. I think one game they had 9 left on base for the end of the game. They had 7 home runs in the baseball game. So LSU is third in the nation in batting average, hitting at 338. They're 24th in home runs per game at 1.66. They're 16th in doubles per game at 2.45. They're not very good in triples. They're in the 133rd range there. On base percentage, they're third. That's very important, whether it's a walk or hit batter or even a hit. They're at 456 on the on-base percentage. On scoring, they're fifth. They're fifth in the nation, but they're averaging 10 points a game. That is from all the games they played, before SEC. And that big game, 17-8 on Saturday, really helped out too. They're not a very aggressive base path stealers. Their stolen bases are 199th in that. They average just 1 per game. So they're not aggressive on the base paths at all. Kate Anderson got 4.1 innings pitched, 4 1/3 innings pitched on Thursday rather. He allowed 6 hits, 5 runs. He had a 5 ERA, 5 earned runs, I should say. Come on, which is the ERA too? 5 earned runs, and on those 5 runs that were scored, so all 5 were earned runs. 2 base on balls, 21 batters he faced. Now Connor Benj came in, he got the win. Zach Cohen got the save. Now, on Friday, Anthony Evanson got the win. He pitched 5 innings, 5 hits against him, 1 run, and it was not an earned run. 3 base on balls, 12 strikeouts, and 20 batters he faced. So he did very well. Kason Evans came in and got the save. On the Saturday game, Chase Shores, he got 4 innings pitched. Connor Ware came in. He ended up getting the win. But Chase Shores, I don't want to say he struggled a little bit, but all 3 of their starters, well, I'd say all 3. Cade didn't have a great game on Thursday. Anthony Evanson did do a good game, though. Had a pretty decent game on that. LSU is 20th in earned run average at 3.84. Their strikeout to balls ratio is 16th at 2.92 per game, and they're 23rd in fielding percentage at 979. So 97%, not really 98% in their fielding percentage, so not bad. The polls are released out. The polls are in D1, they're 7th. A lot of people look at D1. ESPN, they're 7th. USA Today Coaches Poll, they're 6th. Baseball America, they're 5th. And the Sports Writers got them 5th as well. As we mentioned, LSU versus number 10 Oklahoma this Thursday on ESPN2, by the way. And Friday and Saturday is going to be on ESPN+, but we don't know what games they're going to play and when they're going to play them, simply because of the fact that there is some heavy rain coming into the Oklahoma City area on Friday rather. Friday and Saturday is supposed to be some pretty heavy rain in that area. So I don't know, and they don't know when they're going to play the games. Maybe they have an idea. Let's try to play this or that or this or that. Maybe play early on Friday before the rain hits. I don't know. But we'll just go to the LSU Facebook page, also go to the LSU website, and be able to look at that. Jonathan, your thoughts of LSU sweeping Mississippi State this past weekend?
Always good to get the sweep, especially after you lose a series at Texas. Mississippi State, not a pushover team. I mean, every team in the SEC can hit the baseball, and Mississippi State takes no exception. You saw in that Friday night game, they jumped on LSU pretty early, was consistent with pressure, scored almost every inning until Zach Cohen came in and really pitched brilliantly for 4 innings. Shut the door, didn't have any walks, pretty dominant on the hill, and that's how he's been so far for LSU in this early year. Of course, LSU hitting the long ball. Dickinson fit right in for this purple and gold team, hitting right there behind Bear Jones, who's having a fantastic year. But to me, it all starts with Derek Curiel. That kid has a good at-bat every time he steps to the plate. His own base percentage is through the roof, and that really sets up these RBI guys. You kind of figured the pitching with all the arms that they had coming out that bullpen, they're going to kind of figure it out. Anthony Ianson, he shut all the doubters up with, move him out to Saturday's starter spot. He was dominant again. He throws 4 pitches for strikes. He eats a lot of innings. That's all you can ask for in an SEC starter. So, look, I'm a huge fan of Coach Jay Johnson. I think he's the best in the country. You can take Tony Vitello if you want, but give me Jay Johnson every day of the week.
I agree.
Twice on Sunday. LSU, too much talent to be denied. They're going to make a lot of noise in this SEC schedule. Looking forward to the opportunity to play in Oklahoma. It's their first year in the SEC. They're going to try to make some noise just like Texas did. But LSU, I think, is off the schneid. They're not going to look bad. A very confident team right now, swinging the bats, and that's all it really takes in college football. You have all the talent in the world. It's just about getting the confidence going. LSU certainly has that. They sweep Mississippi State, picking up their 200th overall over Mississippi State. They're most over any team in college. So congratulations, Jay Johnson, taking care of business. Needed a sweep and absolutely went and got it done. I will say, though, I'm convinced with the softball team 10-run ruling South Carolina in the same time it took LSU to start their game, Coach Jay Johnson just wanted to watch a Sweet 16 matchup against NC State. I get it. I forgive you. I enjoyed it, too. Enjoyed the Ladies Tigers moving on to Elite Eight, and looking forward to a lot more brand of baseball, just like Mississippi State series from Coach Jay Johnson and that purple and gold.
No question about that. And, when we're talking about it, you're talking about LSU, Tennessee. You talk about their head coach, and I think he's good. There's no question. But I agree. I love Jay Johnson better. What a big game that's going to be when LSU and Tennessee battle. I think it's next weekend here at LSU. It is. And that's going to be huge. No. Okay, no, it's down the way a little bit. They play Oklahoma this weekend. Then they go to Auburn for that game, for that series. Then they play Alabama here on April 17th. The Tennessee matchup will be on April 25th, the end of April.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Is that going to be good? I think I'm doing a Saturday game for Southern. I'd love to go see one of these games. They're going to be all on TV, though. SEC Network Plus on the first game Friday. There'll be ESPNU on that Saturday and SEC Network on that Sunday. I can't wait to watch that one. LSU, Tennessee. You probably that Alec Box Stadium's probably sold out by now. Can you imagine that matchup, LSU and Tennessee? In Tennessee right now, the number 1 team of the nation by most polls. Wow, what a game that is going to be. What a series that's going to be. That is going to be the end of April, starting April 25th. I cannot wait to watch that one. I think it's going to be great. Jonathan, you get a chance to go to any baseball games?
Chris, I got too many kids to count these days. Busy. Can't drag them out here on school night. So, tough to get SEC tickets during the weekend. You already know. Got the little one, so it had to be a midweek game. Tough to get here to Baton Rouge. I watch almost every pitch. I watch so much more college baseball than the pros. I don't know if you're going to bring up that torpedo bat the Yankees debuted over the weekend, but that's a whole other story about professional baseball. Watch a lot of college baseball. Certainly my kids tired of seeing me watch it because it's all over the TVs at home, but haven't made it to one LSU game and one Tulane game with the young ones, so need to get them out here more. What an experience here at the box. All the merchandise you could ever spend your money on. But no, to answer your question, haven't made a bunch of them yet with the kiddos.
How many kids you have?
3 now.
So you should have watched more baseball, college baseball on TV instead of doing what else you did to make those games.
Hey, take it easy on your boy.
No, I do watch Major League Baseball. Right now, my Red Sox are not doing very good. The Yankees were unbelievable in that 20-run win that they had.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing I saw this year, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays going into Steinbrenner Field in Tampa and playing in that, and how they totally changed that from Yankees paraphernalia all over the place now to the Rays. I thought that is unbelievable, isn't it?
Quick turnover in the majors. Yeah, they can do
Isn't
anything.
it great? Could New Orleans have a Major League Baseball team?
No, I don't think there's enough interest for it. Baseball, and look, in Baton Rouge,
But
only
if you
60
win-
minutes down the road, huge following. Well, it just takes too much to think about how long it took the Saints to get a real fan base going to the games, not wearing bags over their head. So it need to be a proven winner before New Orleans to get behind you. And unfortunately, with the baseball, had the Zephyrs for a long time. And the Zephyrs were a good AAA organization. They were a farm team for the Houston Astros when they won their first World Series.
Right.
So, the Zephyrs were really good for a long time. They had to give away $1 beers for Thirsty Thursdays. I love Thirsty Thursdays, but I'd be like the only guy in the crowd down the line. So I just don't think there's enough draw for baseball down in New Orleans.
And not only that, you notice the Shrine is falling apart.
Yeah, not sure if they're doing rugby these days or just doing high school football and high school soccer, but definitely going to need some upgrades if they're going to keep the Shrine open. Those seats are falling apart, and really no shade once that sun leaves the sun dock. So, lots of improvements needed. We're trying to get some baseball down there.
Yeah, you know who runs that, right? The LSCD board. And I'll say this, too. It's like they got to deal with the blender first, the Smoothie King Arena. And then, but I saw a picture of the Shrine over there on Airline Highway right across from the Saints practice facility, and it's looking pretty rough right now. And I hate that. It's a beautiful stadium. I like the stadium. But no, I think going back to Tampa, I think the way they did all of that, obviously they're not going to get much fans in there because I think it holds 11,000, almost 12,000 fans. But they didn't get much when they had that dome. And they're arguing about their new stadium deal and whether to fix Tropicana Field. They don't even know if they're going to do that yet. So they're going to fix Tropicana Field. Orlando wants them. There's a few other places that want them to go there. They want to keep it right there in the Tampa area. Right now it's in St. Petersburg. They're not wanting to do anything, so it may be Tampa. Maybe they end up doing it. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But, man, I think if you build a good franchise, that baseball could be good because it's a fun game to go watch. I mean, the Pelicans games are fun. But, man, I think it would be fun to watch a Major League Baseball team here. But you'd have to have like a Todd Graves to get that, worth $9 billion. I'd love for Todd Graves to come and buy a Major League Baseball team. If they're not going to do an expansion, a team that would move. I think they showed another, I can't remember which franchise it is, Jonathan, but they showed the place was empty on opening weekend. I could not believe that. It was horrible. And obviously Tampa has been struggling for a long way too. But anyway, I'd love to see a Major League Baseball.
Is Oakland still protesting ownership? Is the Oakland A's fans still protesting?
No, I think they've let that go.
Let that go? Okay.
Finally let it go. And they're going to be playing in a state-of-the-art stadium in Las Vegas.
Right, yeah, top of the line.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a retractable roof because it's too hot to play there. That's what I'd love to have here in New Orleans. We'd have a retractable stadium, a retractable roof stadium. It would be great. You have to have it. Football, it doesn't work. Nobody's opening up their retractable roof in football almost, it seems. Dallas never opens up theirs. Arizona rarely opens up theirs.
Minnesota, right.
But in baseball, you have to have it because, like in the Texas Rangers, it gets really hot there in Dallas.
Yep.
I mean, and just think about in Dallas what it'd be here in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Same thing with Houston. Houston has a retractable dome. They rarely open in that dome, too. And it used to be – and it went nuts. People went nuts over that it's not Minute Maid Park anymore. Yeah. The fans went crazy over that.
Well, Chris, what do you think about the torpedo bats?
I just go back to the old school. If you're going to do old school when it comes to the Hall of Fame, if you're not going to let Barry Bonds in, if you're not going to let Pete Rose in, do you like the new changes? And extra innings with a runner at second base. Do you like that?
I hate that. No,
and then also, I hate it too. Yeah. And the pitch count? I understand some could be long, but the pitch count, man, is like crazy. So if you're watching on TV, you may like it.
Yeah.
But if you go to a game, go to a concession stand,
yeah.
you miss 2 innings of play.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting at the concession stand.
Yeah. So, and the Yankees have a guy from MIT, astrophysicist. The guy's a genius.
Right.
He has him on payroll. They did a study on Anthony Volpe. They found out he was hitting most of his balls right next to the label on that bat.
Yep.
But these bats were already being made, Chris. People acted like, the Yankees went out and they're changing the face. Marucci even has a line of the torpedo bat. They've been making for over almost 3 years now. The Yankees, obviously a big brand in baseball. They debut it for their hitters who all use torpedo bat, hit home runs in that first game along with like seven other guys. He had 9 total home runs.
Yeah.
Scored 20 runs, so it made a big splash onto the scene. This isn't a new crazy idea. You're just moving more of the wood to the part of the bat that makes the most contact. It's kind of like cheating, though. It's kind of like you're using a bat that if you get jammed, you can get the good part of the wood on it. But unfortunately, a lot of these guys are throwing 100 miles an hour down in the MLB. So, I get that it's the Yankees, and everybody loves to hate on the Yankees and say that they're cheating, they're cheaters. But I don't really have a big problem with this torpedo bat. It's open for every single team in the league. Every player has a chance to get this new bat if they want to switch to it. So I don't think that's cheating. But one more storyline, Chris, for you in the world of baseball. Did you see the Texas A&M Kentucky series? Any part of that?
No,
how that
I
ended?
did not.
So there was a travel curfew that was enacted in the last inning. They couldn't start an inning past 4:30 Central Time, and Kentucky knew this, and they had players meetings on the mound and took the full 20-second pitch clock for every single pitch, getting towards that 4:30 mark. And the two coaches actually got into it with each other because, like I said, the travel curfew, the game could not start another inning past 4:30 Central in Kentucky. Coach Texas A&M did not like it at all. Thought it was kind of Bush League, but just what are your thoughts? Are you okay with that travel curfew? And if teams are up by 3 runs when that travel curfew is coming around, I don't consider it to be like 12U baseball. They're just trying to win an SEC game.
Yeah, that is, and always the case. They got to be able to go back to go to class or whatever, but yet they miss Thursday. They miss Friday games. It is crazy the way they do that. I agree with that. But I can never pull for if Texas A&M gripes for anything, I can't pull for A&M baseball because that first time LSU went to the College World Series, I could hear that announcer when I was listening to Jim Hawthorne on the play-by-play. Ladies and gentlemen, will the Texas A&M bands please report as we're heading to Omaha, while the LSU fans and players please make your way to the buses going back to Baton Rouge. And LSU came back and won that game.
Boom.
I'll never forget that. No, I cannot ever cheer for Texas A&M. All right, we come back. We're going to wrap things up. We got some stuff to talk about. The Saints, NFL's got some new rules. How about Kellen Moore, Pelicans, and more coming up as we continue right here is Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers. Jonathan in the house. Marty's in the house. Back after this time out right here on Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, on Pelican Sports TV.
The 53rd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Louisiana's largest free harvest festival, is just around the corner. And the fun begins on Friday, April the 11th, with a large midway of rides for the whole family. Plus, live music begins at 3:30 p.m. on not one, but 2 big stages. On Friday, Clay Cormier and the Highway Boys, plus the 3rd Street Band and the Rhythm Chasers, just to name a few. On Saturday, April 12th, the Strawberry Festival Parade starts at 9:30 a.m. and it travels right down East Pine Street in Ponchatoula. Then head to Memorial Park for some of the best booths in Louisiana, from seafood, funnel cakes, hamburgers, and of course the juiciest strawberries in the world from local farmers. Live music starts at 11:45 a.m. and don't miss former Idol contestant Lindsey Cordelli at 12 noon on the South Stage. The Dominoes start at 5 p.m. and Thomas Kane at 7:30 p.m. On Sunday, April 12th, it's the Egg Toss Contest from 11 a.m. until 12 noon and the Strawberry Eating Contest from 1:30 to 2:45 p.m. Don't miss the 2025 Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Friday, April 11th through Sunday, April 13th at Memorial Park in Ponchatoula, Louisiana.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs, because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, and Marty's in the house. Jonathan in the house. Alan is in the house. Alan just came to me and said that Elon Musk was fired by Donald Trump, and obviously April Fools. Got to be careful on these things today. Jonathan, you were telling me a story about where was it? What was it? East Carolina? No.
Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina, who's had an unbelievable baseball program, and their football program's gotten better. What is this an April Fool's joke?
No, I do not think it's an April Fool's joke at all, Chris. It came across social media yesterday. The athletic director said that as of 2025, during the football season, patrons to Brooks Stadium, as it's known, a capacity of 21,000. Okay, so everybody that attends the Coastal Carolina home football games will be welcome to free, F-R-E-E, free concessions, unlimited trips. You get 4 items every time you go to the counter, popcorn, hot dog, drink, and nachos, I believe, was the options. But, 4 items at a time, and it's free, Chris. Free. Free.
Can you imagine that in Tiger Stadium or the Saints, for God's sakes?
Well, and I had to look it up because I was thinking the same thing. Now LSU, over 100,000, around 108,000. The Saints, over 70,000 seats. 21,000 seats for Brooks Stadium, but still, if every fan was going to spend $5, you're now giving away over $100,000. You got to give credit where it's due, and really taking care of your patrons, giving them back something. They spend so much money and effort and time to devote to coming out seeing your product on the field. So you pay for the tickets, they're going to pay for your concessions. I think that's outstanding. Kind of taking the lead from Arthur Blank down there in Atlanta with those prices and concessions. We talked about it a little bit, though. I saw a study that said, since those concession stands prices came down at the Mercedes-Benz Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that merchandise sale has gone up almost 67%. So merchandise is a lot more expensive. So they are making their money back somehow. But got to give credit to Coastal Carolina, giving back to the fan base. Free concessions, unlimited trips. They're doing it right down at Brooks Stadium.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see them do it here. It's unbelievable. I wonder, have there been any thefts for the cash and dash of the Dome? What is it, the cash and dash where you just grab and go? And you pay and stuff like that. But I think there's somebody waiting right there in the front to make sure you pay.
Well, they got cameras all over the place. Yeah, they got cameras all over the place. And it's usually an attendant somewhere around where the cash register is.
Right, unbelievable. All right, speaking of New Orleans and the Saints, still making moves and more to come. As we mentioned, offensive lineman Dylan Randez, he'll be an opportunity to either start, played for Tennessee a lot of years, either start or be utility offensive lineman, which means he can play guard, tackle, or even maybe possibly center. Re-signed defensive back Amada. Wide receiver Brandon Cooks is back. He says he's still got some in the tank. He had no animosity towards the Saints when he was released here. Here's the problem with him. Very fast wide receiver and can catch. Caught some big bombs and all that in his career with Drew Brees, and he went to New England after that, went to the Rams as well. But he used to be a problem in the locker room. That's why people told me that he was a cancer in the locker room, and because he's been traded so many places, it seems that is the case. Now, has he calmed down now that he's older? I don't know, but Brandon Cooks is back. And, Jonathan, I was correct. We talked about this last week. I said the Saints had around $30 million in salary cap space. It's a little over $31 million. Can you believe that?
Yeah, and look, it's the same deal as every year. How are the Saints going to earn the cap? How are the Saints going to – well, the only way they do that is Mickey Loomis is signing a bunch of fat checks for upfront money, give them as a signing bonus, and then you give little pay, the minimum pay for the yearly salary. So it's kicking the can down the road. Of course, the Saints are going to be in another problem next year come off season with dead money and cap space again. But addressing the older locker room, I do like the Justin Reed pairing with the Honey Badger, and I do like the Brandon Cooks signing. It still has some speed. Obviously, he's lost a step since the Saints drafted him out of Oregon State, but still a long threat, and especially if the two speed demons the Saints do get some injuries again this year with Olave and Shaheed. It's good to have Brandon Cooks kind of fill that same type of role. Saints can't be done, though. This is not enough. No. They have to make more moves. Got to get both sides of the line solidified, and still need some linebackers. Demario Davis, Father Time is knocking on the door. Got to get some young guys in there. Really have to have a good draft. Saints have shown they're capable of not only noticing but developing talent, but got to hold on to some of these young guys that do well in their rookie contracts. It can't just be rookie contract, then you're a farm system for somebody else's team. Zach Bond goes to the Phillies, to the Eagles, and now all of a sudden he's in potential for Defensive Player of the Year. That can't happen anymore for the Saints. Got to pay young players that develop in your organization.
You believe that Demario Davis had more tackles this past year than he had at any time in his career?
There'd be nothing to shock me about Demario
that's
Davis
unbelievable.
at this point. Yeah.
In all of the seasons he's played, he's only had 2 years where he didn't get over 100 tackles. That guy is unbelievable, man. But like you said, eventually, is it going to drop off? Is it going to level off like a plane, or is it going to come down like a helicopter? I don't know.
Right. Yep.
Unbelievable. Rumors, media continue will not let Derek Carr alone. They don't like the guy. There's rumors about the Saints are going to still trade Derek Carr. I doubt that. If he reworked his contract, everything, I don't think Derek Carr's here to stay. Kellen Moore has talked about him and his quarterback. He's going to stay. And there's rumors that Shedeur Sanders is going to – if they draft Shedeur Sanders, I am burning all my Saints gear, I promise you.
Yeah, and Chris, I thought truly when you didn't see Derek Carr around like for Mardi Gras or the Super Bowl, you saw a lot of Saints players out there up in front like making a face for the city. Cam Jordan was all over the place.
Right.
Didn't see Derek Carr, your $48 million
and for the Super Bowl
quarterback, not even for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he moved back to Fresno.
Yeah.
And that's where he's from. That's where he went to college. And he moved back there because, again, the way Saints fans have treated him. He's a family guy, religious guy, loves the city, loves the team. And Drew Brees told him, if you love the city, he'll love you back. It didn't love him back.
Yeah.
And it's because he's had, out of 7 seasons, he's had 6 new offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
Drew Brees said he puts the ball on the money.
Yeah.
Now Kellen Moore is saying that. Yeah. I say that. Look at his arm velocity. He's got a good arm. He's made some dumb plays, but what quarterback hasn't?
Yeah.
I like Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a Drew Brees, no question.
No, right.
But I do think he's a good quarterback. And by the way, not this season, but next season, for Saints fans, you get ready. You know as well as I do that Drew Brees will be in the Hall of Fame on a first ballot.
Yep.
And probably more than likely the Saints will be in the Hall of Fame game.
Yep.
So I plan on going. I know a bunch of my friends have talked about that. When Drew Brees makes the Hall of Fame, we're all going to Canton. I said, yeah, I'd love to, and I love the idea at the beginning, but you mentioned how many Saints fans are going to be there?
Yeah.
And you can't, I think, get a real feel of the Hall of Fame. But imagine being in that stadium on that Thursday night at Tom Benson Stadium, and Drew Brees is going to be, put in the Hall of Fame that weekend. I'd love to be there. It's going to be great. So understand that. It's next year, not this year. The Hall of Fame game, Saints will not be in the Hall of Fame game this year. It's next year. Next year they'll be in the Hall of Fame game because Drew Brees. And I'm looking at the people that are eligible for the Hall of Fame, Drew Brees is number 1 on the list. And guess who else is on the bottom of the list? Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great to
Ironic.
show, hey, you took my job in San Diego, but guess what? I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame before you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so interesting with that. But again, Shedeur Sanders, I don't like his attitude. Never liked his dad's attitude. The Saints have 9 picks in the draft. And also they've announced that the training camp will be in Metairie, by the way. It will be there on Airline Highway at the Oshner Training Facility is what they're calling it. Also, by the way, just broke today, NFL keeps the kickoff the same, but they've changed the overtime rule, where both teams now, just like the playoffs, will get the ball both. Both will get the playoffs. Both will get the ball, I should say, in overtime, and there'll still be a 10-minute time in overtime. That was announced today. By the way, also, the Pelicans just have 7 games left, and that dumpster fire is over. Hey, this show is seen in almost 2 million households all over, of course, Cox Television right here on Pelican Sports TV. 5 times it airs this on the week. Tuesdays at 11 a.m., Thursdays at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., Fridays at 9 p.m., and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. as well. You can also go to the download the app and also on YouTube as well and check us out there. And, of course, right here on this station, you're watching us now here on Pelican Sports. Until next week, I'm Chris Powers for Jonathan, Marty. Allen's in the house. Good to see him as always. We'll see you next week right here on Talkin' Sports with me, Chris Powers. Check you out.